Welcome to Little Bighorn treasure hunting. Once again, I want to show you some symbols of the Native American language that was used on their possessions, their weapons. And today, I think what we'll do is we will show you mainly the word Cheyenne for the tribe. There was the Northern Cheyenne and the Southern Cheyenne. The Southern Cheyenne were decimated by Custerd, and Black Kettle was killed as the Washika massacre. They thought he was safe, and Custerd had different ideas for him. And I'm going to show you very plainly the different symbols for the Cheyenne here, and we're gonna go ahead and start right here with Old Crow. He was a Northern Cheyenne chief. He fought in the Little Bighorn, and the symbol, as you see right here, is like the Christian fish you see on the back of cars. That's the Cheyenne mark. Here, you'll see it here. This is right here the sporting rifle that was taken from possibly an officer, because mainly the officers used them. And this is Bull Bear. He was Cheyenne, and there is a Cheyenne mark right here. This also belonged to Bull Bear, and this was his stone war club right here. And as you can see here, once again, is the Cheyenne mark. And remember, we had the A for bull. Now, something that's interesting is Bear, he has 6 dots. Normally, that's 5 dots. Here is a knife that belonged to Yellow Wolf, and it was handed down to him from his father, who was killed at the Sand Creek Massacre in 1864. But here again, Cheyenne mark, the Christian fish. We showed you this here, 3 bulls yesterday. See the Cheyenne mark here again, the Christian fish. Over here, this is your 1870 or 1868. These were cut down. This was a much longer rifle into the carbine design. But here again, there's the symbol for the Cheyenne. Now, this was a woman, and her name was Spider Woman. And you'll find that the language, as you read it, is a lot like Spanish, where everything's backwards compared to us. The first word is to the right instead of the left. Here also, we have buffalo paunch. See the Cheyenne mark here. There it is on there. This belonged to Wooden Leg, and he was quite something. There's a book written about Wooden Leg. And here also you see the Cheyenne Starburst. Now, I told you I would tell you some sources. One of the good sources that I found these from is from Rob Robles Antique Guns. And this particular gun came from his online auction. They're good people, his son Griffin Jordan. They run it together out of Utah, and you can find them online, Rob Robles Antique Guns. Here, this was Old Crow, right here. Poor guy, he surrendered with Toon Moon, became a scout, and then he worked for the U.S. government. Then they sent him to Oklahoma, which is terrible. But I'll read you some stories on some of these. This particular gun here was one that was issued to Custerd's men. This is what they call a trapdoor carbine, the first model. Here, he was quite a prolific rider, Black Horse. And while we're at it, you see the symbol for horse? It's like a horse print, and you'll see that all throughout. And you'll see other marks the same. But Custerd, he made it mandatory for his men to put their initials and the company on their weapons. Here you see SS for Samuel Staples, Company I. he was killed at the Little Bighorn, and the gun was taken by Black Horse. And I'll show you some of these other words, like the word black. Here's horse again. And he was quite the drawer. He did a lot of ledger art also. The Cheyenne called the Little Bighorn Sheep's Creek, or Little Sheep's Creek, and the Sioux mainly called it Greasy Grass. So you will see those symbols, and you really like to see those symbols on any of the weapons you find. But here's your Spencer carbine. Here is your trapdoor sporting rifle, and here is your trapdoor carbine right here. They were also issued, his men, Colt single actions, and as we go along in this, I will go ahead and show you some of those that I have, mainly Arikara Scouts that were Custer's favorite. Here's a Winchester 1866. This one belonged to Old Bear. You can see the 5 dots, which is Bear, and Old is 2 dots. Here again is a pistol, an 1860 Colt that he acquired, and this was used by the government. And if you look under here, you'll see a US under there. That means it was taken apart after the Civil War, re-inspected and put back together. So the serial numbers won't always match. But I'm going to show you another word you'll see 2 times. Here, of course, is your symbol for the Cheyenne. But here you'll see a short line and a long line. That's the word for little. Here you got Old Bear. You see it here. 2 dots for Old, 5 dots for Bear. Here you go again. And here is Sheep's Creek. And if you look here, you can see that this is painted in ochre, the figure of the sheep right here. Now you have to remember these guns were used and well worn. Here's another Cheyenne mark here, and this was 2 bird. You see it was a beak for bird on the Cheyenne, and you'll see other symbols for bird, but this one here, it's that pointed beak, and this is your Remington 1858. Here's a Stone War Club, and this belonged to Little Bird. Also Cheyenne mark. Here's your bird mark. Here's short line, long line for the word little. Pretty cool, huh? Now here, you'll see a different symbol for little, right here. And this was a very important man right here. Old Little Dog. And he was at the Fetterman battle. They called it the Battle of 100 Slain. And at some point I'll tell you about that battle also. And here again we see horse, 2 lines for little. This belonged to Little Horse, and he was also a Cheyenne. He rode with 2 Moon. Here's horse, here's little, here's the symbol for 2 Moon, which is also old, and here's the Cheyenne mark again. There again, we'll come over here and I'll show you once again the horse symbol. Big is a long line. Here's your Cheyenne mark right here. Now you see this jagged mark right here? That's the Cheyenne Lightning Society. It is also on this piece here. Let me find it. Whoops. It'd be on this one here. The Lightning Society mark. Bear with me here. I got it in here. See it right here. Here's your Lightning Society mark. It is also found on this Stone War Club that is Cheyenne, from Bear Bull. You see it there. There it is, the Lightning Society mark. You see all these similarities on these guns, and it's just, and all the weapons, and it's way cool. Now I want to read you a story about Old Bear. And here it is right here, about at the Little Bighorn. Little Bighorn testimonials reported that a man riding a sorrel horse broke away from the soldiers and rode back up the river and toward the hills in the directions the soldiers had just come. He was going back to Reno to try and get help, I believe. Some Indians followed him, but his horse was fast and long-winded. So only 3 warriors were left in pursuit, a Sioux and 2 Cheyenne, Old Bear and Kills the Night. Old Bear and Kills the Night kept trying to overtake the man, and the Sioux shot at him but missed. Then Old Bear fired, and a short time later the man fell from his horse. It was noted that the man had been shot in the back between the shoulder blades, and it was believed that Old Bear had killed him. So who knows, one of these pieces right here, more than likely this Winchester 1866, was the culprit. And if you look at the wear under that, the pommel wear where it rode on the saddle many miles. Now we'll go over here, and this is a very significant gun here too, of Little Horse, and I'll read the story. And these stories are ones that were documented from Wendell Grand Guard. These same stories are out of several different books, and I really like Custer's Fall as well as Wendell's books. But it says, Chief Little Horse led the Northern Cheyenne warriors at the Fetterman massacre that we were talking about, the Battle of 100 Slain, which is right here on this Spencer here that was captured from the soldiers there. It was only possible 27. And here you can see the Cheyenne mark right here also on this gun. And in tracking more weapons used at the Little Bighorn, and also other excerpts that I will read from right here, it says, the last minutes of Captain Tom Custerd in the afternoon of June 25th, 1876 at Little Bighorn can only be told by the survivors of the battle, the Sioux and the Cheyenne warriors. Chief Little Horse of the Northern Cheyenne told George Bird Grinnell in an interview in July 1914 that Tom Custerd was alive during the last minutes before the final Indian onslaught. Little Horse said that during the last minutes a bullet hit Tom's right arm, which caused him to drop his Spencer sporting rifle to the ground. Cheyenne memories. And then Tom drew his revolver with his left hand, but Little Horse pulled the revolver from his hand and shot Tom in the head with it. Dr. Henry Porter examined Tom's body after the battle and reported that a bullet shattered the humerus of the right arm. White Shield, a Northern Cheyenne, gave an interview to George Bird Grinnell that he saw a man, later said to be Little Horse, stripping the body of a soldier after he had killed the soldier chief with his own gun. The soldier chief, wearing a buckskin shirt, short fringed on the breast, with buckskin trousers, wearing high boots, and had a knife stuck in a scabbard in his boot. He was wearing a large red handkerchief tied around his neck and marks pricked into his skin on the arms above the wrist. He was armed with one 6-shooter. Other warriors who had witnessed the killing of Tom Custerd were Red Horse, White Cowboy, Iron Hawk, Standing Bear Dives Backwards, and Montecito. So we're going to conclude on this here, and I'm going to set up some more items to show you. And contact me at my email if you would like to. I'm not much at getting back to you, but it's lbhtreasure, treasure, @gmail.com. I'd like to hear if you got anything to say. And I look forward to setting up a new one and sharing with you, because, like I said before, this language was taught to Wendell Grand Guard by Black Elk, and we really would like to see some Native Americans get involved with this and carry this language forward. We don't want to lose it. It's a very important part of American history. Thank you.